New reporting indicates that the chairman of Sinclair had spoken to Donald Trump himself last year and specifically spoke to him about certain business ideas that Sinclair has been pushing for. Now, Sinclair Broadcast Group is a right-leaning broadcast group that is also seeking to buy Tribune, which would indicate, if that merger is approved, that Sinclair would own 75% of the local news that gets broadcast throughout the country. Now that's disastrous.
So let me just be clear, 75% of the markets would have a Sinclair station. So they don't of course own all the stations in those markets, but that is tremendous influence, enormous influence. In fact, Trump's own team, his own son-in-law, Jared Kushner, bragged after the election that they made a deal with Sinclair, which actually gave them more access to the swing states, almost 10 times as much, he said, than CNN. That's how much impact those local news stations have.
Now, I just learned about this technology that they've been pushing for. It's technology that Sinclair has apparently developed, and so here's what you should be concerned about moving forward. Now, David D. Smith, who is the chairman for Sinclair, said that he briefed officials last year on a system that would enable authorities to broadcast direct to any American's phone. Apparently, he was quoted as saying, "I just wanted them to be aware of the technology." Now, this is technology that they have taken part in developing, and so they want all new televisions that are built in the or that are built to include a certain chip that they've developed, and it's part of the next gen TV technology. So I'll give you more details in that in a second. He recalled an earlier meeting with Trump during the 2016 election campaign where he told the future president, quote, "We are here to deliver your message."
Well, that seems very helpful to a politician, doesn't it?
So they're outraged that they're getting criticism in the press about being mouthpieces for Trump and nothing more than that. Well, yeah, people are gonna think that, and actually people know that because you say things like, "We are here to deliver your message" to Donald Trump.
So remember the famous number that studies showed that Donald Trump had gotten about $2 billion in free media coverage before the general election, just in the primaries. That's enormous, whereas they hardly covered Bernie Sanders at all. So these huge disproportionate free media advantage that Trump had, that didn't include local stations. So on top of that cable news coverage that Trump got for free and all the shots of the empty podium before he even showed up, you had Sinclair going, "We are here to deliver your message, sir." So is the media partly responsible for electing Donald Trump?
Absolutely.
Well, clearly so.
So let's get to this technology that Sinclair is pushing for. The company has been a driving force in the development of a new broadcasting standard known as Next Gen TV and is one of the first involved in making chips for television, cell phones, and other devices to receive the new transmissions. So they got together with their lobbyist friends and started lobbying the government, specifically the FCC, aggressively lobbying the FCC to ensure that all new televisions are built with this technology, because guess what? They will financially profit from that. They're the ones who make these chips. Now, what is Next Gen TV? Well, here's what we know so far. Apparently, it's a form of technology that will provide advanced emergency alerts. So it would be able to give you alerts on your phone, on your television, coming from the government. So if the government wants to alert you regarding a natural disaster or some sort of threat, they would be able to do that. They would just kind of get in there and tell you what you need to know. Okay, there's interactivity. So the way that this would work is it would essentially give advertisers the ability to give you targeted ads, right? Because it would keep track of the types of ads that you choose to watch. Okay, so there's that component of it. There's the targeted advertising, and also there are privacy concerns when it comes to these targeted ads. So similar to what we're experiencing on Facebook right now, some members of the FCC were concerned that we would have the same problem with our televisions. Now, the FCC unfortunately did vote partly in favor of what Sinclair wants. This was in late 2017, and they said that this technology should be voluntary for companies, technology companies who wish to include it.
Yeah, so look, a couple of different issues here. One, the all these media companies are driven to get better and better data on you to be able to serve you more ads. So it is what the industry does. And so a huge problem that television has is that they don't have enough data. So they do ratings based on, well, I think that TV was on at that time. Who was watching? They don't really know. And I know that they're trying hard to find the right demos and give you the right ratings and information. But online, you have much better information. You have arguably too much information, as we saw from Facebook and the Cambridge Analytica mess. And so what they want to do is be able to track you better on TV as well.
That's exactly right.
Right. So, and partly, by the way, it's preposterous that television's been getting all these ads for all this time. And when you ask advertisers, who are you reaching? They're like, I don't know. Then they turn to the internet and they know exactly who they're reaching, and they're like, I don't know, I'm skeptical. I just want to put my money in TV.
Thank you. You got to the point that I was desperately wanting to get to, right? Advertisers have still been incredibly, I mean, we know this. We've talked about demonetization and censorship and all that stuff pretty much nonstop since last week. They're very finicky when it comes to online content, and they have a lot more data regarding online content. Which demo is watching? How long are they watching for? Those types of things. How many of them actually click on the ad that pops up in a video? They have way more data there. With television, they have less data, which is why companies are now pushing for this technology that's more interactive. So these, advertising firms will have a better idea of what the habits are, so they can target these ads. But like, if they knew that online content had better data for them, then why had they been so finicky?
Well, yeah, because people are slow, they're conservative, and not politically, but by their nature. And so they kept using an inferior technology. So I don't mind the technology. I get why people want to push in that direction. But the idea of Sinclair having access to all that data is a little scary given their stated intentions and how they don't appear to be doing news. They appear to be doing propaganda to serve the president in their own words. And for them, to me, of course, always the most disturbing part is the fact that they can influence politicians by giving them campaign donations and doing all the lobbying, and they go, because of the influence of money in politics, they could just say, now use our technology instead of someone else. Is your technology better? No, but I bought the politicians, so I'm gonna ask you to use my technology instead. So that's a whole nother set of problems. When you're looking for problems, turn to Sinclair. If you want to get the whole Young Turks show every single day, become a member, tytnetwork.com/join. And once you do, you'll be saying,
I'm like a smart person.
Or you might say,
I think it's weird.
Or you might say,
oops.
No, that won't be that one. It won't be that one. It'll be great, trust me. tytnetwork.com/join.